Thailand and on multiple Lolita Express types of flights as a child. After I went public, Child Protective Services opened a substance-exposed newborn case even though all tests came back negative, and they told me that if I wouldn't stop posting on social media, I would never see my daughter again. I started to connect how I was adopted as an infant and then sold throughout my childhood, how many other children who have been through the adoption, foster, and CPS pipelines have also been trafficked to Epstein's Elk.
And as many of you guys know already, based on the work that we do at the Karis Project, I'm an American Indian born in Canada under the Jay Treaty. My father and I were exposing the improper contagion mitigation for the COVID pandemic in early 2020. As a result of this, I lost everything: a house, cars, corporate assets, jobs. Bank accounts were shut down in Canada, and I fled to the US as an American Indian, fully documented, and was trafficked by rogue agents in ICE and other agents in the government, and forced to live with single American men. I was even imprisoned for 7 months initially, and then trafficked throughout the states. Put on full surveillance tracking and wasn't allowed to leave the city, house, or state without permission, or work without permission. And that happened for many years, and I was on and off the streets because of that, and in and out of shelters. And that is just a small example of what many go through in this trafficking system, be it the family courts or otherwise. So that's why the Karis Project will be going to DC to speak with representatives and do live reporting. We're also going to be in contact with other families who are dealing with human trafficking, and through the CPS courts or through any other means, lesser versions of trafficking, and doing reporting on them live and otherwise. We will also be working on, we ultimately want to shine light on what's going on with the trafficking here in the US. And we also want to meet with various agencies in DC, and we'll be going back and forth for training sessions and other things so that we can be better equipped to help people deal with resolving some of the issues that we're seeing. We will also be putting forth petitions in government to help people get justice, and that's something that we have been working on already so far. We have some petitions that have recently been filed in the state of Colorado, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona, and we will be continuing.
But we can't do this on our own. We will be traveling to events and training courses, as well as DC on a consistent basis. We also have to get acceptable equipment, such as computers, cameras, interview gear, etc. There will be other miscellaneous costs that would also be like gas, food, and rooms if necessary.
So that is why we are working towards combating human trafficking, and that is exactly why we need your help. We cannot do this alone, and most what the Karis Project does is on its own dime. And so we do love and appreciate each and every one of you that support us and all the work that we do. As many of you know, we also live stream on Lindell TV every day. And everything we do, like I said, is on our own dime. So we appreciate all the love and support and all the people who do donate. And we would very much love and appreciate that still. Thank you everybody for your time and considerations. And thank you for all the support. And we will catch you guys in the next one, and hopefully we might see you guys in the future and come across you and maybe be able to do some great things together.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Karis Project podcast. Today we have with us Eleanor Ballester and obviously my daughter, the host. She just got out of being locked up for trying to protect her kids, and you want to kind of just introduce yourself to our audience?
Hi, yes, my name is Ellie, and I did just experience a heavy dose of retaliation and spent in total a year and a day in local county jail in San Diego for standing up for my daughter, who was experiencing possible sexual abuse, but definitely abuse and trauma at the hands of the family court system. And now I'm on the other side of that journey, and it definitely has been quite a challenge.
Sorry, I guess I'm talking to myself again. I was just wanting to say about the situation on what got you in there. You had mentioned that you were on your way to Florida when you initially got arrested the first time. You
So I actually was already at Florida, and we were going to go to Disney World and celebrate my daughter's birthday. And we had been trying to resolve things with my older children's father, peacefully and through some sort of mediation instead of getting it all wrapped up in the court system. I think, though, however, the county and whoever was motivated to handle this case, they just didn't want to let any type of mediation take place.
But what were you going down there for? Were you not instructed to go to Florida?
Well, my daughter had victims legal counsel assigned to her through the Navy because there was an NCIS investigation into her father. And so she had an attorney in Jacksonville, Florida, and we were actually going to finally get to meet with him. But that was sidetracked by my arrest.
Okay, so when you got arrested, when were you supposed to go and meet them?
Very soon after my arrest, within a couple days.
So you were going to go and meet with them, but you got arrested beforehand.
Yes.
Did they have a valid warrant?
They never had a warrant in my entire case, ever.
And then, so you didn't have a valid warrant, and then you got arrested in Florida.
Yes.
And how long were you in jail in Florida for?
106 days. I was basically contesting the admission on the grounds that there was no valid warrant and that there was definitely no valid governor's warrant and there was no reason to have me unlawfully detained to begin with.
And how long did they have to come and pick you up before they have to let you go?
90 days.
But you were there for 106 days.
Yes, they gave me an extra 16 just for fun, I guess.
Well, if the law says you have to go out after 90 days, they had to let you go, but they didn't let you go.
They did not let me go. They actually committed a little bit of fraud because they had Governor DeSantis sign what appeared to be some sort of governor's warrant around the 90th day that I was being held there. And I think they tried to kind of use a loophole to hold me in there and act like they just got the governor's warrant. And so that it gave them 30 more days to keep me there.
But there was no warrant at all.
It should be right there.
Not this one, though.
Yeah, no, there was no warrant ever.
Okay, and so then you went to California, you were in jail, and then you got out. And how many?
Yes.
You were there, what, 2 or 3 times?
I was in jail after that for 6 months in California, and then they released me pending conviction on an ankle monitor under duress. And then I was contesting the entire case and appealing the entire case. And I had a appeal in process, and the judicial officer retaliated and issued a no bail bench warrant, which was not signed by anybody and didn't even have a name on it. And then I was rearrested on that bench warrant, and then I spent 2.5 months in jail after that.
Where were you arrested?
Arrested at a restaurant. I went with my husband, and I was arrested. Sorry, I'm trying to fix this so it's not so loud in the background. And I was arrested within a couple minutes of getting to the restaurant with him.
Were you with him, or you were going by your meeting him there?
No, he was with me. He took me to lunch.
Oh, and then they just came and who came to arrest you?
The federal marshals.
The federal marshals came to arrest you on a bench warrant from family court. Or no, from a criminal court.
Yes, the federal marshals came to arrest me on a bench warrant for the criminal court.
In the state of California.
Yes, for a state charge, yes.
Okay, and then when you got arrested, what ended up happening?
They were going to try to put me on probation, and still frozen for me, but they were going to try to put me on probation, and that was like the goal, I believe. However, due to some paperwork that I had taken care of, we weren't able to do probation, so they ended up just maxing out the sentence. So they sentenced me. Ended up doing 82 days, and that maxed out the sentence time served, so I didn't have to do probation.
So how much time did you get in total, and what were the charges to begin with?
I did 1 year and 6 days. I was originally charged with kidnapping and 3 counts of deprivation of custody. We ended up settling out the matter for just one charge of deprivation of custody, and they actually changed the wording on the charge because it admitted that I was not malicious and they couldn't prove that I was malicious. So they did wording completely of the charge, but really just needed me to take a felony.
But you were going to Florida at the direction of the NCIS, correct?
Well, I was merely traveling with my children, and I was in correspondence with their father. I let him know timeline, and I was taking care of some important business. And I was also protecting my daughter and both of my daughters and my son from the harm that they were enduring, the chaos, the stress, physical harm that they had endured, and trying to resolve it privately, which is the right of every American to resolve these matters privately.
But you did report the abuse that your daughter disclosed to you.
Yeah, there was an active investigation by NCIS into my ex-husband at this time.
But this is towards your daughter and what's surrounding him being in her care. And it was a criminal investigation,
Yes,
was it not?
a criminal investigation into him, and not just for harm that he caused her, but also harm that he had caused me.
Okay, so you then now had a criminal investigation. You were going to go see the lawyer in Florida. You got arrested before you got to do that. What did they do
Yes.
with the case after you got arrested? Did they come and visit you in jail to get the information?
No, they simply closed the case and didn't follow up on it anymore.
Can you elaborate on what the nature of the case was?
I had presented to them evidence of physical harm to his vaginal area that happened only when she was visiting her father, that it reoccurred over and over again, along with burn marks on my son, and just the had taken place on base, and there was never any resolution, and it had continued to occur throughout his entire period of visitation.
Yeah. Were you able to did you provide them with any pictures or any of that of what happened?
Yes, I gave them all of the evidence, pictures, time stamped, all text messages, responses, doctor's reports. I gave them everything.
So did they ever tell you what ended up happening with with all that information? They just
No, I
oh,
I reached out to the inspector general when I was out to try to pursue it, and they didn't get back to me till I was rearrested again, and then let me know that they would need to talk to me when I was out. So now I can get back in touch with them.
so you got arrested the before couple of days before you were supposed to go see the council or the NCIS in Florida, and then you were going to go to the inspector general and you got arrested again.
Yes.
And this is potential, like, I mean, sexual abuse because there was um injuries to your daughter around her vagina, right? And then
Yes.
you had physical, like, burns to your son. And so
Yes.
this is not something that's a light matter. And so now you're you've had a lot of other issues that went on. And what was the treatment that you received when you were in prison or in jail, sorry?
While I was in jail, it seemed like there became sort of a gang up between people that I trusted and loved very much to kind of create a false narrative towards me that I had some sort of mental illness or disorder and that I needed to go to an inpatient treatment center in order to see my husband, my current husband, or my children again. And this narrative was created very heavily. It was everybody that I loved and trusted in my close-knit circle, other than some friends that might not have been aware, were trying to create this narrative. And then anytime I spoke to them, convinced me of this narrative or pushed this narrative on me. My house was sold while I was in there. My children were moved to another state while I was in there. And I have been since told, unless I go to an inpatient treatment center, I won't be able to see my husband or my children.
Did you, what happened to your social media accounts?
All of my social media accounts have been hacked or closed. My cell phone was turned off. My emails and text messages erased. My legal mail has been destroyed, and all of my evidence, any evidence that I had, all of my legal documents were destroyed and thrown away. All of my belongings have been taken to another state. As far as I know, I still haven't recovered them.
Well, I mean, that probably sounds a little familiar. Like for me and my daughter, like, I mean, I went to go to court and I was going in for first appearance for a couple of court hearings, one of them a family matter, another one relating to COVID, except I got taken by the police who were defendants in that matter, taken to the facility for the Saskatchewan hospital, who were also defendants in the matter. And I got strapped to a bed and drugged against my will and lost my house, got cut off from my daughter and everything else like that. And everything got sold unlawfully, fraudulently, and put before a judge and everything else like that. So, I mean, I can see how that happens. And if you went
Yeah.
into a mental facility, they would just act as power of attorney and make sure you got cut off from everything.
Yeah, I'm well aware of what ramifications that would have, and I also am sound mind and competent. I've already been through a competency exam. I passed it no problem. Many of the physicians on staff at the jail went to, they said I'm competent, I'm low risk for all mental health issues. And I actually saw a little bit of a turnaround with the county, that they seemed more supportive than my own close friends and family.
So when did you get this? When did they say that you were competent? How long ago was this?
I was deemed competent by the County of San Diego in November of 2024.
But why is it that they want you to take a mental health evaluation if it was just like, what, 8 months ago they said you're competent?
Yeah, they said I was competent, competent to handle all of my affairs. And I have asked, what is the reason for me needing to go to an inpatient treatment facility, even though I've been found competent and cleared by several physicians who say that I'm mentally sound and stable. And they really don't have any answers to those questions. And they simply will say things, oh, well, you believe in being a sovereign citizen. I say, I do not believe in that. That's not even something I speak about. That's not part of my belief system. And I don't use those words either.
When you say they, who are you referring to?
I'm just going to not necessarily label anybody right now, but I will say my close family.
Okay, so family members are telling you this. So if you're
Yes.
even if you did believe in the sovereign citizen, doesn't mean that you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean,
Yeah, I think that any political belief system, it has nothing to do with mental health, and I think that anybody can believe what they want to believe when it comes to their political beliefs. I don't judge anybody for what they believe. I was 24/7 surveilled in that jail, and if anything would have been brought forward. I went through solitary confinement, and I kept my composure and my character. So I think if anyone, I've been that I'm mentally sound.
okay, so then what ended up happening when you got out? What did you have when you got out?
When I walked out of the jail, I had my shirt, my pants, and my shoes. My computer and phone and my wallet had been left with my one form of ID and one debit card. My bank account had been cleared out, so I didn't have any money. My social media accounts had been hacked or signed out. My emails had been and text messages had been erased. And my close family made it clear they didn't want to help or communicate with me.
So your close family left you with nothing. Your husband, when he sold the house,
Yes.
what happened to your portion of the money?
I've been told I don't deserve a dime, and if I think I do, I'm delusional, and that I don't remember anything or know the truth. So
Was your name on the house?
my name was on the house on the day that we moved in and the day that we bought it, yes.
So how did he get your name off of the title of the house?
I think there was a lot of undue influence going on, and that's just something I'm going to have to look into and really track the record and see what went down with that. I'm taking it one step at a time, try not to point the finger or cause any more conflict. But I went to school and have a degree in accounting. I really understand finances and how to track money, so I'm not at all confused on how much I paid towards my house or what my ownership or beneficial interest in it was. So.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a title and your name's on the title and you didn't take it off, somebody did
Yeah.
something wrong.
Right.
I think it's going to have to be looked into. I'm trying not to speak too much about any of that publicly just because I don't know how this matter is going to be handled or sorted out. And if it is a criminal matter, then I don't want to speak too much about it right now. Still, of course, love my husband and I love my sons and I love my family. So I don't necessarily want anyone to go through what I went through. It's devastating for children, and so I'm kind of trying to, once again, handle it as privately as I can handle it.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I have no issue with handling it privately, but someone did something deliberately, which is against the law, to put you in a position where you had nothing. And where
Yeah.
the position that they put you in, that's a position where it's very easy to exploit someone, right? This is how, when I listen, like,
I definitely think that was the goal.
what I mean, me and my daughter, we mean working with victims of trafficking and abuse and wiping people out financially, especially the women. This is how they get them into trafficking very easily, by leaving them in that situation, and then they can
Yeah.
coerce them by get holding out a little bit of a breadcrumb for them to do what they want, and just give them just enough to scrape by and then keep them begging for more. This is exactly what that is.
I think
Right.
that luckily I came out and stood my ground very strongly. So I haven't even experienced breadcrumbing at this point. I'm basically gone into the no contact mode from everybody that was trying to coerce me into this. So at this point, there's no breadcrumbing. There's just no contact, and I'm gonna just have to, I guess, stand my ground and do what I can do on my end.
Yeah, I understand that you had people that came in and helped you, but not everybody gets in that situation. And it's not only the fact you
Right.
got help, but it was the intent to place you in a position, in that position, because
Yeah.
it wasn't by accident that the house disappeared, the kids disappeared, and your bank accounts, your social media, and whatever. I mean, somebody did something for those things, right? And so
Yeah.
you I don't know, I can't sit down and say who was behind all of it, but somebody was, and there was deliberate steps. This is what I'm saying. It was wrong. And other people aren't so fortunate to have people come out and help them, and
Help
then they
them.
do
Yeah.
end
Most
up
people are
getting into a situation. Like, I mean, I a lot of times women, this is how women get trafficked. Like, I see it happening all the time, right? And
I'm very, very, very blessed right now that people have come out of the woodwork to help, and I'm actually keeping them very private because I don't want them to become targeted for helping me either. And so I can see how detrimental this could be to somebody that didn't have somebody step up and come to help them. So I'm very, very blessed by that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I see this happening all the time. So, what is it? What is going on with you, kind of like right now?
Well, right now I've gained the things that are most important for the short term. So I have shelter, I have food. I'm working on income streams and sources to have financial stability. And then the next goals would be to retrieve or reunify with my children, all five of them, and work through that. Threatened by close family members. You're not going to see your children, and you're never going to have custody of those children, and unless you go to inpatient for at least 30 days, I'm not going to help you. And I've had so many
That's crazy.
threats come my way by people that don't have the power to do those things. So it's very shocking that they would be threatening me to this level. Um, and I'm just going to have to stand my ground and do what I can do as a woman, and I can create income streams. I can have shelter, I can have food, I can be capable and stable to provide for all five children, and that's what I can do right now.
You're gonna say something, Kaysha?
No, I just said that's crazy. Like that they're like coming out and being like, "Oh, I'm not doing this unless you go inpatient 30 days." And that 30 days inpatient actually is how they would certify you to stay longer. So you would go 30
Oh,
days
well,
and then you would just not.
they've already even they've backed down. They started their original was 3 to 4 months. So they were 3 to 4 months, 3 to 4 months, 3 to 4 months. Then they started halfway house. You have to go to halfway house. Then they started, now they've backed all the way down to 30 days. Just do 30 days. Just do 30 days. No.
Because doing 30 days
No.
is all it takes for them actually to certify you long term. Like 30 days, like when you go into a mental institution, like I worked at a mental institution, a federal mental institution. So it's like all you
Yeah.
need is 30 days and then they can keep certifying you over and over again as long as they want to. Like that's diabolical. They do this stuff to people all the time and they threaten stuff like that, but when they don't have the power to do that, but it's like people come together, like you said, to make a narrative around you and actually present the idea to certain people who have the power to do it. Oh, all this false narrative evidence. Okay, this is why this person needs to be committed.
Yeah, the really sad thing is this is my own family doing this. My own family, like very close family, creating this narrative, screaming at me this narrative, causing extreme harm, and turning around and pointing the finger and saying that I am the problem, and that I destroyed everybody, and that I destroyed my family, and denying the fact that doctors are not agreeing with them, that actual licensed physicians saying that I'm mentally sound and competent are wrong. And so that it's just really, really intense, and actually even more concerning that this is my direct close family.
Well, it's typical abusive behavior, abuser behavior. They're gonna like point the finger at you while they're actively doing the abuse. And I've seen this from people who were trafficking me over the years. They would be trafficking me and abusing me and then telling me, "Oh, but you hurt my feelings." You're literally
Yeah.
trafficking me. Like you're literally raping and beating and drugging and all this kind of stuff. But I hurt your feelings because I told you to stop or that you're doing something wrong. It's the abuser. Like they're just trying to make you feel bad and misdirect your attention from what they're actually doing to you and your children so that they can just get away with it and then make you try to like cower and submit under their evil. It's disgusting.
It's really sad, and I can see some of my close family members being victimized by it, how it's tearing them apart and breaking their own hearts. But I don't know what's going on, if somebody's being blackmailed, extorted, or who's putting this extreme pressure on people that really love me. And I guess, hopefully exposing what's going on can help. I think that I have enough people that are on my side, that know the truth, that hear the story, that know that I am competent and mentally sound, and we can push back a little bit on this false narrative.
Yeah, just 1 second. We're gonna take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
All right. So for anybody who wants the MyPillow products, go to mypillow.com/Karis or call 800-845-2942. Use the promo code Karis and support a good cause and so forth. Okay, we're just waiting for. Oh, there you are. So we're back here, and so yeah, so you're okay. You're now sitting down trying to get yourself sort of together. Well, what ended up? What were they saying to you? What when did this start to ramp up about going to this the inpatient? When did that start?
I actually began when I was first arrested. They've tried a few ways to try to coerce this therapy. So they first tried when I was first arrested to get me to agree to an attorney that was going to do something called a mental health version, and they were going to force me that way. That failed. They then tried to have me fail the competency exam and force me that way. That failed. They then believed that they were going to put me on probation, and with probation, they could force something called cognitive behavior therapy. Then they found out they were not put me and failed. So now this fourth attempt actually is to force it by taking all of the assets and removing my husband and my children and having me coerced into believing that the only way I can see my husband or my 2 young sons again is if I go to an inpatient.
So they're basically using your family as extortion. Extort you.
Absolutely. Absolutely they are. And I don't know if my family is part of it or compliant or if they're being blackmailed. I love them still, and I really hope that it's not nefarious. Maybe it's not even, they're not even aware. I'm not sure, but they definitely are being used right now by someone, or are the ones trying to coerce me into this.
Well, I mean,
That's like
sorry, go ahead, Kaysha. Go ahead.
when my dad was unlawfully detained and being drugged, and my sister was like taken and gone, and people were like, oh, you need to do as I say or else I'm not going to help your family be free. And then they were raping me and then saying that I seduced them while they exploited me while I was on, like, had nothing, no home, nowhere to go, and then took me in the middle of nowhere and started telling me I have to do everything they say or else they're going to let my family just like rot in that situation and also let me suffer. It's like, what the hell do you do? They put you in a corner where you have no option, and they try to force you into, and then say that, oh, this is your own free will, you made this choice. Remember, no, I didn't, because you exploited me in a moment where you have absolutely nothing. You're in the corner. You like, they create the circumstance for that to happen, and then try to like mentally mess with you to make it seem like it's really disgusting, that kind of stuff. But the tactic is the same the whole way around. I see this everywhere. It's messed up.
Yeah, and anybody that came forward to help me would get immediately hit with messages from my family members. Don't help her.
Yep.
She's destroyed her
Yep.
life. Don't you help her. Very bizarre. I mean, I was just thrown off guard
Messed
by
up.
that. Don't help her. Don't help her. You can't help her. And I don't know if some of them are aware what they're doing, which is really questionable, or if they're being told this or they actually believe this. I'm not sure what's going on here.
Well, that's the same thing that happened to me, because anytime somebody reached out their hand to try and help me, a slew of people from everywhere would randomly come and message them, "Oh, don't help her. She's a grifter. She done this. She's a Mexican." Mind you, never been there my entire life. Native American. My dad's clearly black as day right there. Well, clear as day
Yeah.
black. That's funny, but you get the point. So it's like people will come out and do that. Even the lady I'm staying with now, people came and tried to threaten her with actions against her if she helped me. And it's like, who's paying? In my mind, I'm thinking this is a full-time job. Who's paying people to go around and do this? Because it takes a lot of time and energy to go and hunt down people and find out who is helping you. Like, how do they know who's helping you? How did they find the people who are helping you? You said you're keeping it private, just like I keep it private. And people are telling online other people, well, she was at this location at this time and she moved to this state at this time. I'm like, 'cause y'all are hunting me down. You're proving yourself to be stalkers. This is stalker and trafficking behavior. That behavior outlining is the same thing that people done to me who raped and tried to kill me over and over and over again for the last 5 years. That behavior is intentional. That's not an accident. You don't accidentally do that. And people who are victims, they try to go away from all the problems and the chaos. They don't try to hunt down their victimizers. The people who raped me, I'm not trying to hunt them down online and message them and tell all the people around them, calling their job or their friends or the people they live with, "Oh, this person done this." I don't want anything to do with them. These people are behaving predatory. That is very intentional, aggressive behavior.
Yeah, they go to great lengths. They'll even leave you bad reviews on your businesses. I mean, it's kind of honestly embarrassing, I think, for them. Like, it's very pathetic behavior. It doesn't lead to anything good for them. I don't really know what the goal is, or what they have to gain here. I think they only have to lose in the long run. I mean, my own direct family members doing this, anybody that helps me, coercing them to, or scaring them to stay away from me. I mean, it's heartbreaking what they've done to my own family, my own husband. I'm sad for him, and it is what it is, I guess. So
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody has to stand and kind of do what they need to do. And I mean, when it comes down to it, and somebody's pressuring you and threatening your family, they will never give you what you want. They're always going to come in, and if you allow them to do it once, then they will come back and do it again. Because,
right, right.
right?
Right. So I'm at the point now where I have to directly stand up to my own family that I thought I loved, and so, but that's okay, because it's part of what has to happen, and maybe it will help everybody along the way. So I am still blessed to have people that I don't think can be very infiltrated, that have been targeted themselves, so they know what's going on. They're not naive to it. They're very aware. I have some great men actually in my life that are very, very upset with what's going on. They're very upset with my husband's behavior, and they are not afraid to help me. They're not afraid to help me,
That's
and I
good.
think that's the best thing, that the best thing that's happening right now. And they're not afraid to help my children either. I'm not going to reveal who they are. I don't want anyone to
That's
ever figure it out, but they're not afraid.
good. That's really good.
Hmm.
You,
Yes.
you see, this is where what ends up having to happen is that accountability has to come. When people allow these things to happen and to cover and stay silent, they get away. I'll give you an example. We were looking at my daughter and I, we were discussing this girl. She got trafficked and she got raped, and she spoke out about it, and people swarmed them. And other girls that did that, they got swarmed, and then they just kind of stayed silent because they would come at them like a just a pack of ravenous wolves. Well, guess what? When they do that, then they get to go and make more victims. And whoever is doing this is going to continue to make more victims, and then your children are going to be punished because separating you and your husband is the primary goal, because you are far more vulnerable by yourself than you are with your
Well, you know
husband.
what? I wanna make sure that we're not gonna let that narrative even happen. So, because the awareness is the killer of evil plans, right? So we're all aware right here on this call, and we're making the public aware right here on this call. And I think the only one that's not really aware that this was targeted is probably my husband. I don't think he's fully aware that he's actually a victim of this targeting. And so he'll have to gain that awareness at some point, but we're not going to let that happen. It might be the goal of the ones, and if they're listening, we're not going to let that happen. I'm going to say it again. I said it 3 times, and so I know my power of awareness, and I know the power of my voice, and I know the power of the people that care, and we're not going to let their plans happen. That's where I stand.
And for helping men to see what they need to do is that they need they need pressure. Men are not like women. Things that will destroy women will help men to become good men, develop into men.
I say bring on the challenge, you guys, because these men are going to start to step up, because the more that the awareness spreads, and it's so evident and clear what's happening and how intentional this all is by I believe by a group of cowards. It's a bunch of cowards doing this, sitting behind and targeting strong and beautiful, intelligent women or men, just so that they can feel powerful. It's cowardly. It's embarrassing. And I think the more awareness that comes out, the more the actual people are going to be shocked, and men are going to start to step up to the plate.
Well, I mean, awareness is great. I have no issue with awareness. I want a lot of these people to get consequences, because at a certain point in time, because this is happening everywhere. This is not just you. Like, there's a whole group a network of people that do this to people.
I know, and I think that's shared on the dark web, all of that. But the good thing is that there are a lot of people speaking out right now, and that's the worst nightmare, because it had been kind of hidden and secret. And now there's enough people speaking up and saying, you know what, we know, we see you, we know what you're doing, we know your tactics, we're aware of them. And I think that's the best pushback to all of this right now. I actually am going to have to run just because of my location, but I really appreciate you guys for getting my story out there, and it's going to spread awareness and make it clear that I know what's going on. You all know what's going on. There's people helping me that know what's going on, and that we're not going to let this continue or happen.
All right. And I mean, people need to, basically step up and do what's right, and not allow this to continue and to go forward. So how can people help you and reach you before we go?
So right now, my only social media that I still have access to is Ellie LeClaire, LeClair, first name ELLE, on Facebook. Reach me there. Send me a message. I made a new TikTok. It's the Ellie Show. Find my face. I'll be out there. I know that the right people will find me. Keep spreading awareness. I mean, keep learning and sharing the truth. And the more of the truth that's out there, the more that people believe me and are on my side, that's just going to help to turn the tables here. Kind of like Jesus did. He turned the tables on the money changers, and that's what we need to have happen right now.
All right. So people can go ahead and, reach out and help. If Ellie, your Facebook will be in the description if you're watching on Facebook, BitChute or Rumble. So you see that there. So go reach out.
Thank you.
And help her. All right.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. All right. Let's just come and kind of wrap this up, since we've got a few minutes here left. This is the kind of thing that really kind of needs to get dealt with. We see this kind of stuff happening over and over again. And the exploitation it's a killer. It just happens way too much. Like, we really need to do something about the exploitation. So I'm going to tell everybody, if you can, to share this information, share this out to people, because it's just happening over and over again. Like, Kaysha, like you were talking, your situation, like every time, what happens when you try to get help from people?
I mean, yeah, people just get me to work for them and then use my situation to get further along in whatever they want to do. And then I'm spending my own money and resources to do that. and then when they're done, they just like throw me out or whatever, or they'll actually try to sexually and financially exploit me, like, and then people will say that I'm the grifter when I've spent so much of my money to like help those people and done so many actions to help progress them further in what they're doing, and I've had no benefit to myself. And like so many people like have tried to get me to like go into stripping and prostitution, like have actually tried to push me into these things while also recording me, what they do to me, and selling it online for a profit. But they've tried to push me into those things, and somebody invited me to an event that I went to just the other day that they were performing. I went there to do some media stuff, just investigative stuff or whatever, and it was at a strip club. And I, for the first time, saw this environment because I refused to go into those environments before where they were trying to push me into, and chose to suffer instead. But it put into perspective, like in real time yesterday, like what my life would have been, and how like the type of exploitation that people do in these situations. Like it blows my mind. Like I'm stuttering so much, and I'm kind of angry because like when I was watching that situation, I was like, how many girls are in situations where they're being exploited? How many, and who knows, maybe all of them are there of their own volition. They came from good families, whatever, who knows, right? I'm not going to spell and pronounce for people. But it's like, how many people are actually in that situation because someone is exploiting them and creating a circumstance around them where they can't really do anything to help themselves, and they're doing this desperately to get out of it. And I'm in the situation now where the easiest thing for me to do would go and be like a stripper. And it's crazy the narrative that people try, like how Ellie was talking about, these people try to create a narrative around you. People try to create a narrative around me as if like I'm a grifter and I can't do anything. I'm beautiful. I could easily be on that pole with those women making stacks. Like without a shadow of a doubt, I would be out there making money. I would be coolin', and I wouldn't need anybody. Like the fact that I take the hard route and suffer day in and day out just so that I can help others at the expense of myself consistently. I hate being around people so much that I'd rather sleep on the street, and people don't know me. People don't really know me. People don't really know how stubborn I am. The only reason I'm not is because my dad's like, Kaysha, they'll actually grab you. Like people are hunting me down and they are trying to kill me. I've been grabbed on the street. I had people grab me on the street and try to sell me on the street when I was in Colorado. I've been seeing smoke. I know what it is. And if it wasn't for my dad being like, Kaysha, please just put your pride aside, I would be walking the streets free as a bird, no care in the world, not doing anything shady, just minding my own business, living life, living my Pocahontas life in a teepee somewhere, packed up with my like teepee and some fish that I caught down the river. Like people don't understand when they make these narratives how stupid they sound. Like someone's gonna go through all that hell at the expense of themselves just to be at the expense of themselves even further, when they could be out here committing crime or doing shady stuff, selling themselves or doing prostitution or whatever, getting quick money. If I wanted some guy in America, like they say, I could have got that. Which I don't even care. I've been having offers. Ask my dad how many people have messaged him and called him like, hey, let me marry your daughter. And he's like, yo, screw off for real. And I'm like, no, I'm off that. No, I don't want that. Get away from me. I'm sealed. Just kidding. Not really, but like I'm almost, but so the thing is like people need to start using their brain, because when people come and they do this stuff, you have to start thinking about why they're doing this. Why is someone coming? Why, when someone offers you a gift, you need to ask yourself, why are they giving me this gift? Is this a gift? Like, what is it really going to do for me? Why are they giving me this information? What am I going to do with it? People don't care about people that much in this world. I watched that at the strip club last night when I was watching those girls, and I was watching their face when they're performing, and I'm sitting there fighting tears. How sad I was, because it was breaking my heart to see that there was girls there who were actually intelligent, who had value, who had skill, they had beauty, and they're sitting in an environment that they do not need to be in, and you can see it all over their face. And nobody cared. I turned to the person next to me, some guy, I was talking to him the whole night. He was a young guy, like about 21, he claims. I hope to God he's 21, but you know what I'm saying. But I was talking to him, I'm like, do you not get depressed watching this? Like, I was talking to the people in there to see, the mindset of some of the people doing this stuff, and it's like, it shows how demoralized we are in our society, how little we care about human beings. And it really, go ahead.
One thing I wanted to sit down and say is that a woman by herself is far easier to manipulate and to traffic, and
Well, that's what yeah, go ahead.
without the protection of a man, they're not going to be able to do it, because every single time when they're coming after you, they try to separate you from your father.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And block you from getting into meeting a good man.
No, but I'll tell them, like, I'm talking to somebody, and they'll be like, oh, tell me blah, blah, blah. I'll give, like, minimal details. Oh, no, he's a red flag. Don't do blah, blah. My one friend was like, yo, I would be skeptical of anybody who tells you to be off that because they're trying to hurt you. And I'm like, even my one friend, no, but she's married. So it's like, a lot of people will try to they'll see someone who's like a good person around you. They'll try to separate you from them because then they can slide in. Men don't care. They'll be like, you'll say, oh, I'm talking to somebody. Whatever. He's not here. I'm talking to you right now. What about it?
And that's treacherous. That is treacherous.
No, but and not in those words exactly, but in that frame. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, the intent is there. They're coming up behind the slide from the backside and not up the front, because if they got the front, they would get destroyed.
They get destroyed. You're right. And because the man is not directly there, what am I going to do? All I can do is keep deferring. No, because he did this and this, or my father this. All I can do is defer and pray to God that all the deferral makes them scared. And it does. I think it does. When women defer to men, I think other men are like, okay, I might actually have a consequence. Whenever I don't like something, I'm just like, well, my dad this or he this. And then they're like, oh, just kidding. But that leaves you still vulnerable, because if you're alone with that long enough, somebody's just going to be like, you know what? I want this. I'm going to take it. And that's what they do.
That's the whole thing. That's the biggest reason why they keep me in the situation that I'm in. Because if I came into the United States today, you would no longer be in that situation.
They're cooked. I told my friend that he invited me to the event. I said, look, the reason people keep me in this situation is because they know my dad, he's going to give consequences to these people. I truly and wholeheartedly know and understand that, because I watched it my whole life. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And these people, they know their day is coming. And I said, I said, what are these people going to do? Take me to court? I said, I wish to God they would have the audacity, but they would never. I said, the day my dad gets here is done for these people. I said, that's it. And that's why I'm like, I'm okay suffering, because I know at the end of the day, I would rather take the suffering of this and let my dad actually give the full blow consequence than me go and take the easy way out. And then have these people running me all types of ways, turning me like a corn in the pot, doing whatever they want to do with me. That's crazy. When I watched that stuff, I was so mad, because I was like, you want to do that to me? And they have my little sister in a situation. I don't know where she is. I don't know what she looks like. Trying to do the same thing to her. What is she, like 6? Bro, when I realized that last night, I could have bawled I went back to my room, because they got me a hotel room separate, thank God. But I went back to my room, I cried. I showered and cried. I scrubbed myself like crazy, and I cried because I could not get that feeling off of me.
Anyway, we're running up on time here. All I'm going to sit down and say is, I'm not the guy that goes ballistic and throws the chair across the room. I'm the guy that's going to figure out a way to come and get you. And the whole lot of you are all going to face justice. Really? That's really it. I'm not going to throw my life away for yours. You're going to get what's coming to you. Anyway, I'll close here with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for the hope that you have given us this day. Lord, watch over Ellie and her situation, and Lord, all the other people who are suffering. And Lord, my daughter and the rest of my family, and my little daughter, Karis, Lord, it's been 5 years. Lord, bring the men and the women to come together to rebuild our families, our churches, our community, our nation, that we could have some protection from the children and be able to finish the work is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thanks, Dad, for the prayer. As always, yeah, I'm glad that we had Eleanor come on and give an update, especially so fresh out of her situation. It's awesome that she was able to talk about that and share. Men and women need each other. We need men. We need good men in this world because this stuff needs to be dealt with. Like I said, consequences are coming. I know my father. I don't know about you and your house. As for me and mine, we'll serve the Lord. So anyways, thank you guys for your time and considerations. We'll check you guys in the next one. And to my dearest Karis, until we meet again, my friend, and we will ciao.